Priya begs David not to marry Alicia. As the day dawns, everything goes wrong. Alicia's boiler packs up, Val burns her hair, then David's sick. Things look bad, but there's an even bigger shock in store.
Week wasn't the best of weeks in terms of predictions. I don't think Lawrence and all myself got anything really right. I think I did say that I thought Arsenal would get their arses kicked at Manchester City, and that wasn't me dissing Arsenal at all. I think everybody's going to get kicked by Manchester City at the moment. I said 3-0 to City, end up 6-3. So I got the amount of goals difference right, being 3, just the score was wrong. And the rest of it, Hull Stoke was 0-0. I mean, you know, that was on the telly. Having to suffer that, watching that on the telly is unbelievable. And of course, nobody saw Spurs losing 5-0 at home to Liverpool, did they? I put that down as a 1-1 draw. I put Manchester United to win 2-1 at Villa. So Manchester United did win that game, but the wrong scoreline. Anyway, this is just a bit of fun. You know, I'm sure all of you listening to this have heard all this before, so I'm not going to go through it all. Just a bit of fun, start off with a bit of fun, and it's really surprising that you sit here and do this and you think that's what's going to happen, and you genuinely believe that's what's going to happen, and it turns out not to be like that at all. So without further ado, let's start off with Liverpool Cardiff. Now, interestingly, I didn't realise that until a short while ago. This was Bill Shankly's first game in charge of Liverpool at Anfield. Against Cardiff City back in 1959, December 1959. I think it was 19th of December 1959. First thoughts, well, I'm pretty sure Liverpool would have won that, you know, bearing in mind how great they were or were about to become. But no, they didn't. They got trounced 4-0. So when Boas is getting the sack at Tottenham Hotspur, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because I expect the Liverpool board sort of looked down Bill Shankly and thought, oh my word. But anyway, different generation, different days, and they stood by Bill Shankly, and look what he became, and look what he built Liverpool into one of the most famous football clubs in the world. And he, for me, is one of my favourite all-time managers. I love Bill Shankly. I thought he was terrific. I loved him as a bloke. I thought he was just so great as a football manager. He just lived football all the way through 24 hours a day. That's the most important thing in his life, probably, or possibly, I should say, I don't know. But anyway, great guy. sadly missed and packed up far too soon. But, you know, Liverpool Football Club, where they sit now, wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Bill Shankly. So anyway, got done for 1-0. Will they get stuffed again by Cardiff this weekend? I don't think so. Not with Suarez playing. And of course there's Malky Mackay, who, you know, I just look at Cardiff and it's so sad, because there they are, having just about everything changed to do with the club, just to make them more attractive to the Asian market. I mean, it's just the history, tradition counts for nothing anymore. It's just, right, we can make a few quid, change the colour of the shirt, change the name of the ground, change the badge, let's coin the money in, and the fans that have lived and stood by Cardiff, and some of them are probably, you know, quite old guys, been supporting Cardiff since they were kids, maybe 30, 40 years, go and watch Cardiff City play. It's all been destroyed, absolutely destroyed in front of their eyes. I mean, it's bloody heartbreaking, and I really dread getting up in the morning some days and picking up a paper, putting the internet on, because I just know one day I can just see Manchester United. I mean, well, it'd be a riot. It would be a riot, because I've seen Nick turn really nasty up there before with the Glazers. You know, the change of kit maybe, possibly not, because the big selling shirt Manchester United, but the selling of the ground, of the naming rights to the ground, it's just so many warning signs there to everybody in football of what these people are like that bring the money in. And when you look at it, what does money bring into the football to the fans? Doesn't give you anything. It gives you absolutely tiddly squat. All it does is gives money to the people who already got money. And they're going to destroy the game, because what you're going to end up with is nearly every club going bust, and only the clubs with the money being left. So every weekend it'd be Chelsea versus Manchester City, or Manchester United Arsenal, or Liverpool Chelsea, and that would be just rotating through the whole season, like you've already got in Scotland. You know, it's just so bloody worrying and boring. I'll turn my back on it, I think, if it ever comes to that. Anyway, back to matters in hand, Liverpool versus Cardiff. I actually think Cardiff might put up a spirited display to back Malky Mackay, threaten with a sack, resign or be sacked. I mean, what a bloody carry on. It's a bloody disgrace. Something to get hold of that owner and chuck him in that river down at Cardiff and say sink or swim then. Anyway, I think Liverpool are going to have too much for Cardiff, even if they put up a very spirited display. So I'm going to go, I don't think it's going to be a big score, but I think Liverpool will win it 2-0. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Well, Geordies are back in London, South London, Selhurst Park. Palace are starting to pick up a bit under Pulis, but I do believe you can only give a motivational speech so many times. Look at what happened to Sunderland with Di Canio, came in there, got everybody upbeat, got a few results, but then it started to slide away. And I think this will be exactly the same with Palace. I think Pulis is quite a good manager. I think he can give you a lift, but I just think that's where it all stops. And I really think the Newcastle at the moment, with the way they're playing, will have enough here to win this game. Nobody else seems to think so, but I think Newcastle are going to win it 2-1. Let's just catch up with what Lawrenson thinks. Lawrenson thinks 2-0 Liverpool, same as me, and so does Cameron. So there's three of us in the line there, and the troops were 4-0 to Liverpool. Crystal Palace Newcastle, Lawrenson thinks 1-1. Cameron thinks 2-1 to Newcastle, the same as what I do, and the troops are 2-0. Fulham versus Manchester City. Well, Manchester City are just unbelievable, aren't they? The machine. And I just can't see anybody stopping them anywhere, in any competition. They've got Barcelona in the Champions League. Barcelona are absolutely petrified of that prospect, I think, at the moment, even though their local papers worried about it. The only thing I'd say quickly on that is, and I'll talk about it near the time when the game's going to be played, there is a risk that Manchester City might freeze in that Nou Camp. I've actually been to Nou Camp. It's a pretty intimidating place, and it will be that night because the Barca fans are well behind their team. So Manchester City might just find that difficult out there in terms of strategy and being used to playing in front of those many people on a foreign soil. I know they're all internationals, but I can tell you, I've been in there when it's been rocking, and it's a bit, it could be a bit tasty if you're in the opposition. So, Fulham Man City, well, you know, this is like, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lawson thinks 2-0. Cameron thinks 3-0. The Soldiers think it's 5-1 City. I'm going 4-0. I'm going 4-0. And it might be a bit less than that because Aguero's not playing, I found out, because he's injured. So it's going to be Zeko and Negredo. But they've got so many players that can score. So I'm going to stick with 4-0. Manchester United versus West Ham. Well, here we go. Sam Allardyce, I think he's the 12th or 13th best paid manager in the world. The world, not just England or the United Kingdom, the world, 12th or 13th best paid manager. Okay, how does that work out? Unbelievable. Not a great fan of Sam Allardyce, as you probably gather listening to my blogs. Good win at Spurs, both times. You know, they've beaten them in the league and they've beaten them in the League Cup. They'll be pretty much buoyed by that. They're going to come to Old Trafford, believing they can get something like everybody does these days. And that might well be the case, because Manchester United aren't very good, especially in the midfield. Problems and injuries are mounting up now. Robin Van Persie's out, Carrick's out, now Nani's out, and Fellaini's out. Well, the fact is that Fellaini's been out all bloody season anyway, so that's not going to make any difference. It wouldn't matter if Fellaini never plays another game of football for Manchester United in his life, really, I don't think. So this could be a difficult afternoon for Manchester United, because Rooney's also high risk. A lot of talk saying he's not going to play, or he might play now. I think it'd be a bit risky to risk him in a game like this if he's not 100%. Who will start up front? Hernandez or Welbeck? Oh, God knows. I mean, they're both as useless as each other. I mean, I saw Welbeck play a really good game against Aston Villa. Very good game against Swansea at the end of the season, and then we have 5 months, and then he has another good game. And then he was rubbish against Stokes. We'll wait for another 5 months before we see another good game from Welbeck. Hernandez, for me, just can't do it. If he's on the pitch for the whole 90 minutes, he just doesn't look to me like he's capable of scoring a goal. His shooting is abysmal. If you watch him in the warm-up at Old Trafford, he couldn't hit a barn door from 3 feet. Absolutely useless. Good goal scorer on the pitch for the last 15-20 minutes. He will nick a goal somewhere, most of the time. And that was probably a year or so, 18 months ago, but he was unbelievably good. As coming off the bench and scoring a goal, you can almost guarantee we could do it. But for about a year, I don't think he's been any good for about a year. I think he's been found out. I think the opposition defenders realised all his tricks, his traits, which is stronger foot, which way it goes, you know, all those things that people study. And I think you can see a lot of players that do really great when they first come into teams, and the following season they're crap, because other people have learnt their lessons. They watch and study how they play and realise that that's what they're going to do before they do it, and subsequently put the tackles in. Anyway, West Ham, as I said, that Jarvis looked quite useful the other night against Spurs. A bit light up front, but very much together. Good team spirit. But this might just be a bit of a downfall for them, because I think they'll come to Old Trafford, and I think Allardyce think, I fancy this today. It might be a draw. Or they might come out and do what they always do at Old Trafford, and I'll say fair play to West Ham, because they've always gone up there and played a game of football. And sometimes they've won, not very often, but they've been hammered up there a few times and all, and if they'd gone there for a draw, they could have got a draw probably. So they will come and play football the right way, because that's what West Ham are about, which is good. So Manchester United they'll be up for it as well, so it'll be an open game. But I just think that Manchester United at the moment might be just turning the corner a little bit. So I think United are going to win this. Lawrenson thinks so, he said 2-0. The troops think 3-1, I think 2-1. The only one who disagrees is Cameron, who thinks West Ham are going to win 2-1. To see if he's a great Prime Minister or not. Stoke versus Villa. God, this could be anything really. Also Manchester United against Aston Villa, and once they weathered the storm and scored, Villa just fell apart. They seem to be very, very, very fragile if they go behind. Benteke doesn't look interested at the moment, and he's their main threat. Stoke at home, Mark Hughes will have them up for this. I think Stoke will win this just. Lawrenson thinks 1-0, Cameron thinks 2-0 to Villa. I think he's a Villa fan actually. The troops think 2-0, so probably backing the boss, Prime Minister. And I think we 1-0 Stoke. There won't be a lot of goals in that game, I don't think. Sunderland versus Norwich. Very difficult again, and Sunderland desperately need to win this. They're at home. This was at Carrow Road, I might view this differently, but I think Sunderland 2-1. The troops think 1-1. Cameron thinks 2-0 to Norwich, which is a bit of a brave prediction. And Lawrenson thinks 2-1 Sunderland. West Bromwich Albion versus Hull. Well, they sacked